we have the Lobster deck. Nice looking box. Let's tear into it and see what we have at hand tonight as we continue forward in our journey to 1,000 Solitaire episodes. The double wrapping and a nice welcoming red, if you ask me. And it looks like a ship wheel steerer. I like those jokers quite a bit, honestly. It's setting a mood. Kinda like Oceanside, East Coast or West Coast. Maybe even Central, like Texas or something. And as we begin this one, let's start off with a question of what is your favorite seafood? And if you're not a fan, why aren't you a fan of seafood? And we'll get into that after we shuffle up our deck, at least on my part. Interesting sound to that shuffle. And we'll do one more for good measures. One final swipe, and let's get into it. Honestly, I was never too much a fan of seafood growing up. When I think seafood, I think more of like the raw flavor of the fish or type of fish. For example, when I was like 3 to 6 years old and my grandmother would watch me a lot, we would go to this market in the south part of town that sold lots of fish, and it was like an Asian market, and they also had a restaurant inside their market, and she would always get something for herself and order me fried clams. And they're not too bad. It's just they're mainly fried and dipped in ketchup. So that's not too much of the actual clam flavor. And I think that introduction made it very easy for me to enjoy clam chowder. And beyond those two things, I don't really know much else of what I enjoyed in the seafood department. And I think fried fish does maintain a bit of its fishiness. Never really a fan. Didn't like fish sticks, just as Kanye, nor anything that was like anything fishy to it. It's not like I didn't try it, it just didn't really resonate with my young palate. Now I'm more willing. I could enjoy fish, especially if it's flaky, but I've never really been a fan of shellfish. What I noticed when a lot of people eat lobster or crab, they just drench it in butter or garlic butter the safe bet of chicken tender sometimes. And just relying too much on the sauce, you know? And I think that's more of a reflection to the cook or chef. I think most chicken places or places where they sell tenders is just frozen, pre-packaged. And they dry out and fry pretty poorly, so they gotta have a good sauce to elevate them. It's funny how we almost always come back to chicken at some point when talking about food. That actually sounds pretty good. Pretty good. Is Nashville style fried fish. Now, I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. Usually not do things that correlate or bring correlation, but tell me that doesn't sound good. I do really want to try lobster roll though, and see if that's any good. Maybe some crab too. Love imitation crab, but imitation keyword. Oh, I think we're done. Dang. Triple kings to wrap it up very quickly. Nowhere for that 4 king. Second king, queen, third king, and 9. Quickly, we move on to game 3. And I think for the most part, I think sushi isn't what I'd consider seafood. I think just because it has fish and the ingredient doesn't make it seafood, you know? And that could sound very stupid. But in sushi, it's mainly rice as the dominant ingredient. As we had triple twos. Surprisingly, that's it. But a lot of doubles. And then sauces are in most sushis. Sushi rolls. Like, I think my favorite rolls are, they typically have imitation crab, fried shrimp, very thin eel, because they're the cheaper, more affordable ones. Even when it's the like dragon rolls or sashimi style where the fish is on top. I think that's as close as it might get to seafood. Tempura, not really. But calamari, I think so. And not just speaking about seafood, isn't it interesting how we distinguish food in different categories, even though they can fit in other categories as well? Like, technically, a hot dog can be classified as a hamburger and sandwich and that type of thing. some cheese and chili, yet considered two completely different foods to most. And yes, I do consider them different, but I know a lot of people categorize that as American food, which I guess I agree with. It kind of makes the doubting of seafood or skepticism, whatever you want to call it, a bit more understanding. At least to me. I'm dumb. Would you consider a poke bowl seafood or a tuna sandwich? There, the ingredients are heavily fish or fish-like food. And I think the easier argument is tuna sandwich not being seafood, but then either way, you cut it quite literally and figuratively. It's a toss-up. And I've never thought of that before. Just late night ramblings leading to these silly conversations to fall asleep to or just relax to. Triple threes, triple aces, and triple nines. This might be it. Thorough check. And we stay alive. Still triple threes. My goodness. I'm loving this. I think we have to chance having a black king in our hand. I haven't been paying attention, you know better than me. But it just doesn't make sense to play it. We will get to a black king. There's another one earlier. But with that black king, we earn our first fat stack of the night. And now triple sixes. Isn't that lovely? Even if momentarily. I know. Just give me a second. Oh man. So no matter how you cut it, we're done. But an interesting game. No black twos, nothing else to do. Something I've done, I think I make a conscious effort to have food that I typically wouldn't give a chance normally. For example, I've talked about it before, but I hated tomatoes, especially grape tomatoes. I think it was more mental than anything. And then I think about 6 years ago, I just let it be on my burger from In-N-Out. And I tasted it obviously. But it wasn't as tough on its own. But I had a grape tomato from a fresh patch, and that thing burst in a way that I did not expect, and it was tough. But seafood specifically, I think I've been trying more different because squid doesn't really taste like much besides what it's cooked with, in my opinion. Obviously has a bit of a meatiness to it, but nothing to where it's just, oh, you'd know that's squid. Like if you have bacon, you know you're eating some damn bacon. But you know you're eating squid by the texture. And it's like, if you've never had it, imagine a firm bubble gum, a big wad that just kind of breaks apart. I guess like a larger clam. But willingly ordering that at a restaurant. Something I never thought I would do a long time ago. And now, even saying that, I think I want to try out oysters. Not that I want to, like, enjoy them, I just want to see how I react to them, you know? And see if I will end up enjoying them at some point. Do you have a food that you're just like, no way, I'm not gonna touch that for my whole life, or at least a good while? And if you're allergic to peanuts, don't say peanuts. Unless you're at the point of like, alright, I'm done. But even then, jokingly. One that's been incredibly difficult to get past for me is mushrooms. It's the texture, it's the taste, it's the smell. So, sight, smell, touch. I guess, no, you can't really hear them unless you squeeze them. But that's disgusting. It offends 3 of my senses heavily. Okay. And I know it's more of a mental thing too, because during junior high and high school, my mother would cook mushrooms first thing in the morning, raw, and it would just make the house smell completely disgusting to me. And I'm not an over-dramatic person, but I couldn't go through the house for a good, like 30 minutes. And if I woke up early, I knew I had to deal with it. And if I woke up late and they were cooked, oh, triple fours, amazing. I knew I'd have to run through the part of the house connected to the kitchen to avoid the smell, or I'd start, you know, emptying my stomach. Alright, at least we get a refresh. And I have tried having mushrooms since, but it just doesn't do much for me. I cheated, I guess, to make it easier. At Sprouts, they have this mushroom-based meat. So fake meat, but mushrooms. I think the brand's called Meaty. Yeah, appetizing. And there was like a chicken mushroom flavor and then a beef mushroom flavor. The chicken wasn't so bad. Game number 5 on the way. But there was probably like this big of a chicken. Look into it, I can't describe it, or we're gonna be going on much longer right now. But the beef was just like a thick shiitake mushroom, and I had to drench it in A1 steak sauce. Good nutrition, terrible flavor. It was on sale for like $5, so I gave it a shot. Killer Queens. And triple fives. But I gave it to my girlfriend at the time, and she didn't have a problem with mushrooms, but she couldn't keep it down, let's just say that. And I was just mushroom on a pizza. I'm talking like the big slabs on their own. It's just too much for me right now. So, final game coming up. Lots of food talk going on. Obviously a chattier night, but oh well. Hope you're enjoying anyway, my friend. As we get into this final game, let's rate this deck. Back design, vibrancy appreciated, good contrast with the dark colors and the border, good cut for the design. Light durability, very thin, and it's not that durable. They're gonna bend easily. Not the easiest to handle either for control. Art design, a bit of the standard variation, but the face cards are appreciated. So, strong suit, weak suit, decency. This deck lands a solid 7. And what do you know? There it is. It's interesting how a deck can have a relatively high rating. Triple twos. Knight of the triplets, it seems. But I still don't recommend you to get them if you're interested. Very rarely I'll recommend you to get a deck. Because I want you to get nothing but the best. Maybe it's just my way. Or just wanting to take things in consideration, giving you. I just don't want you to get bewitched, you know? Even though they say that's life, it's just better to avoid those types of situations. You know, the something stupid type of situations. And if you got through that and know what I was doing, I love you. I know that was an easy one to do, but still. Okay. Only makes sense. I think we have to risk it. No, we don't. There's no need to risk when we're down this bad. And even if double eights, double sevens, 6 and a 9, nowhere to go. We build what we can do, but nothing else, because another damn 2. Oh, I am blind. I almost let out a heavy expletive, but that's it for tonight. Very not tough games, just decisive. Didn't really feel like we're in many for the long run. Alright, my friend. That's it for this one. Another episode down to our Journey 1000. A nice deck for sure. I like our food themed decks. We'll probably bring back another one relatively soon. But for now, please have a relaxing remainder of your day and night. Many sweet dreams when you do, my friend. Until we meet again. Stay safe and eat your fruits and vegetables.